And action.
Welcome to an Intentional Marriage Podcast. We are your hosts, Kristen and Chad and we are here to discuss all things marriage because why, honey?
We know great marriages
don't just happen. You have to be intentional.
And that's why you are on the Intentional Marriage
Podcast.
So, or YouTube, however
yes, so go you. You're already being intentional.
Yes. Kristen, we really had a fortunate opportunity. For those of you who don't know, we actually took a retreat. We went on a marriage couples retreat out at the Oak Center here a couple weeks ago, east of San Diego, California.
Yes, sunny and 75. It was delightful.
It was wonderful. It was kind of a last minute, I think 3 weeks out, and they had a spot open up, and there was only like 15 couples, and we got to go out there and just hear some really good teaching and just got some time to ourselves. And time to talk, and we kind of just
meet new people. We met awesome people
all over, even from Jersey. There's some good Jersey people. Colorado, Texas, you name it.
Yes.
New Orleans, a lot of California, but it was just really neat to get out there. And it doesn't matter what stage you're in, what age of marriage or years of marriage, just to be able to get away and make your marriage intentional. Because Kristen, you and I pour into a lot of marriages. We speak at a lot of places, workshops, retreats, you name it. We're always pouring out. But this felt really good to get poured back into.
It really did.
And so we want to encourage you guys. We're glad you're listening because you're getting poured into, hopefully.
Yes.
Or we're getting some entertainment. But that if you could do something like this someday at your church or a local thing that you could get into.
They're all over. I mean, countrywide. I mean, nationwide. And just whatever opportunity comes across your path, or even if you're intentional about seeking them out, great. Yes, we say take advantage of everything you can. So.
Yes, everything, because it was just very beneficial, and we felt we got poured into and refreshed. And I got sick the last day, so
I know
that
was
didn't
a bummer.
help. And so anyway, it was still a lot of fun, and we enjoyed it. Got to meet the famous Bob Goff.
We did.
Yep, and that's who owns the center out there, big author, and so it was really neat.
It was a good time.
It was a great time. I enjoyed it, being with you. And sorry, I got sick and was hacking the last day.
I know, that was a bummer. But it did kind of fill us up to put us in a good spot to talk about the topic we want to discuss today. We're in a good place.
Okay.
Right? So
we're in a good
is that a good segue here?
Yeah,
because
it's a great segue.
What we want to talk about today is what are we going to do when our spouse irritates or annoys us?
Oh, what's so annoying? Oh my gosh. If I could say, no, my spouse never annoys me. It's funny, Kristen, I've seen this, not even a meme, but Jordan Peterson, the famous, he's
philosopher.
He even said this. He's like, if your spouse isn't the most annoying person you know, are you even married? And I'm
so
like,
true.
How true is that? Because my goodness.
I'm racking my brain, honey. I cannot think of anything I do that annoys you, though.
You know what? I've had to really think hard.
I know it's taken you a long time to prepare for this podcast because I'm sure of it. You can't come up with anything to put on this list.
Oh, yeah. And this is one of those things that I don't want to get my head bit off or get in the doghouse. Yeah, because I said something. But isn't it amazing, though? You go back to when we were dating, even first married. Man, I didn't see any flaws in you. I still don't.
Air quotes
there. Work in progress. But it's one of those things you just overlook. You're so excited and learning, and man, this person is amazing and they're awesome. And you overlook any minor thing because they're just so full of energy and love, whatever you see in your spouse. And then all of a sudden you're married and certain things are starting to creep up and bother me because you don't do it
like me. Exactly.
Oh.
It is we're all works in progress. But the funny thing is this is a common thing. Like, I don't know of any marriage that this doesn't apply to. I mean, we marry somebody that's so different than us, and their differences can annoy us, or their little personality quirks. And I mean, I too had a hard time coming up with a list. when it comes to you.
Yeah.
Because you are Mr. Perfect.
Yes, in my own eyes. Little did I know all the quirks I had till I got married and discovered them.
Yes. So, okay. So let's dig a little deep into this and find out, or really give some tips and tools and talk about how we can really overcome these annoyances, because they're not going to go away.
Let's name a couple. Because I think our audience can probably relate, because I know they're probably thinking right now, yeah, when my husband does this, it drives me crazy. Or when my wife... and it's already getting people a little angst. And we don't want to do that. We want to make light of it, because we all have it.
Right. So I think, yes, the first thing is taking a little perspective and finding out what is really going on. Like, what is it that annoys you? And, something that's real, this is a real thing. And I didn't know that it was until, I don't know, many years into our marriage. And when our kids started revealing this too, this funny little thing called misophonia. And it is where you have this severe annoyance of loud noises or chewing or chomping. And you have this misophonia, and so do our daughters. If they're listening, they're like, yes, it's a real thing. So, there are real issues.
But that's not a real issue. So, examples, if it's
That's not a real issue?
Well, I'm just going to speak... to kind of explain if you don't know what that is.
Okay.
It's really quiet, or show's on, and then somebody chomping
or biting ice
or glurping when they drink, gulp 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 when they drink. What the heck's the matter with you? It's more my issue, but it's not like when there's just a loud noise. I don't mind noise, or it's when it's really quiet, and then there's a goofy noise that could be easily avoided.
So if you don't know this,
I
guess I'm a chomper and a glurper, and I'm not allowed to eat tortilla chips in my kitchen.
Well, part of it, Kristen, no offense, is you're part deaf. I swear your ears are clogged. And I think people that have really good hearing like me, we hear everything. And people that don't hear anything like you, you don't hear the loudness. Where to me, it's like I got a microphone or speakers right in my ear going blah, 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 blah.
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
And it drives me bonkers. And our daughters, unfortunately, are the same way.
So, that brings me to my point of what is annoying you, and is this a me issue or is this a you issue? I think we have to clarify, because there's what we do with them, with these annoyances, we have to figure out
I think me has an issue with you. Does that count?
This is a you issue.
Oh, it's a me issue.
But okay, I guess this is where I was going, is I realized that this is a real thing. This is, many people suffer from this. And so I try to be conscious of it. It's not something that, yes, it is something that you can help, but I'm also trying to be a little sensitive of it because I know it does annoy you.
It's interesting you talk about that topic, because honestly, over the last 5-10 years, I think
you've gotten better.
Gotten better, whether my ears are blown out from all the hunting and shooting and I can't hear as well, or I'm just more patient, or it's me. It is a me issue.
You realized it's a you issue.
Realize it. So if Kristen's chomping her ice or gulping her drink, instead of giving her a dirty look, and that she can't help because she just doesn't swallow right.
I need to take a manners class.
I leave. I just walk away, walk into the room, or what's real nice, I just put in my earbuds and jam as loud as I can.
Okay, well, clearly we've covered one major annoyance in our marriage.
That has, and I know my daughters seem to act like it's worse for them. To me, I think as I've aged,
you have gotten better.
I've gotten better, and I've learned it's more me. And just Chad, Kristen's done nothing wrong.
So I bring that up to say, yes, is this a me issue or is this my spouse's issue? You know what I'm saying? And so those are kind of I would say that's kind of a little surface annoyance,
yes.
And something else.
Well, what annoys you about me? What do I do that annoys you?
Well,
That's something that's controlled.
Something that's just simple and, I mean, like surfacey is you leave the couch pillows all crumpled up when you get up from the couch. And, okay, but again,
that called
is
pillophonia.
Yes, I suffer from a terrible case of pillophonia because I know that I like things neat and tidy. I like things organized. I like things in their place, but I realize this is a me issue. Like you are allowed to sit on our couch and mess up the pillows.
So it goes, Kristen, I want to go back with that topic because you were so organized and so neat. I'd be sitting on a couch watching a ball game on a Saturday afternoon, and I would just finish my cup. I've just finished it, and I still got ice in it. I would set my drink down on the table, and I'd watch, and all of a sudden I go to grab it. My cup? Where'd my cup go? Kristen, where's my cup? I thought you were done. I put it in the dishwasher. I'm like, I would like a refill, maybe suck on the ice a little bit. I mean, you were that organized. Like I couldn't even move.
Yeah, that was a little anal and a little uptight and high strung. I will say that. I have come a long way, but I still like things organized and nice and neat. And so when somebody is not sitting on the couch, I like to have the pillows nice and pretty.
Yeah.
And so
it looks nice.
Exactly. So I would say that's something that annoys me. But again, I realize this is a me issue, and this is not. It's not a big deal, but it does annoy me.
But again, so we came into marriage, and you guys come into marriage with different backgrounds, how it was done at your house, and what you learned in your household with your parents. Were your parents needy and tidy?
Neat and tidy.
And tidy, excuse me. Or was it just chaos and so
doesn't matter.
So that's how you grew up and that's how you lived. I was one of three brothers. I lived in the basement, shared a room. I don't know if I ever made my bed because no one ever came in there. And so certain things you kind of, who cares?
Right.
But things did care to you. So that's so important that over time we had to communicate and we had to talk about, hey, would you, when you're done, pick up those pillows or straighten your pillows? Now, I know for me, it was more, you'd ask me, pick up my dirty clothes.
Right.
Don't have them, if you can throw them on the floor, can't you just throw them in the laundry basket?
Well, I want to speak to that point because again, if we're taking perspective of what this situation is that annoys us, is it like a surface issue or is there something underneath? Like right now in the point of our marriage where we're at, the pillows, it doesn't matter to me. I just go over and straighten them. Years ago, and we've referred to that situation in previous episodes of like, yes, the dirty socks on the floor, it did annoy me and it really got to me because I felt disrespected in the fact that I asked you over and over and over to pick them up. Because it was that stage of life for me that I was constantly going after everybody, cleaning up after the kids. Yeah. You know, that was just like the main thing of like or like housekeeping was a main issue for me at that point. Well, and so you doing that added one more thing that made me feel disrespected. So there were underlying things.
If I can speak to that, Kristen, because to me, all I felt for years, for a long time, was you were just nagging. Just nag. Jip, jip, jip. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I would almost ignore it and like, ugh, what is she always upset about? Or what I do so annoying today? And until you communicated that me doing that, leaving it on the floor, instead of it was a form of disrespect. You felt disrespected. Right. Then all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, she's not nagging. This is important. And here's why. And so what happens, though, before we communicated it, it was just kind of tension over very little things.
Right.
We had a lot of tension and annoyances, angst that we didn't need to have.
Right.
And I think too many couples out there, they're living in angst over a lot of, I'd say, minor issues.
Well, and I would like to add to that we were not at a point then where we were like emotionally aware, but we were just selfish. This comes down to basically in that issue, like selfish and lazy. I think sometimes that is at the root of annoyances because, you know what? Yeah, I hear her saying pick up my socks or, yeah, stop chomping or glurping or whatever. You know what? I'm just ignoring you and I'm not even going to pay attention to you and I'm not even listening to you because you know what? I'm just being selfish and I'm going to do what I want to do or whatever. I'm not even going to put in the effort because all she does is nag, nag, nag. So there are underlying dynamics. There's unmet needs that are under these annoyances, but there's also an element of like selfishness and laziness. Like if this really matters to my spouse, like if it really is an annoyance to them, why do I want to continue this behavior? Like I need to take responsibility and say like, okay, if this matters to him, it's going to matter to me, and I'm going to put in the effort to alleviate this annoyance.
You've worked really hard at not glurping when you drink.
You're right.
You've become a very quiet drinker.
Thank you, because I've put in the effort. And
you were intentional.
I was intentional about that. So I think so, yes, when it comes to these annoyances, take perspective. Like, what is it? Is this a me issue? Is it a you issue? Is there an unmet need that's underneath? Is there selfishness? Is there laziness? But also I think what another element when it comes to these annoyances is my expectations. If I am expecting this annoyance to go away based on your changed behavior, I am going to set myself up for disappointment. Like I need to figure out a way that I can deal with these annoyances. Like say this is like some sort of personality thing and I can't think of an example right off the top of my head. But my point is that if I am constantly looking at you like, he never does this, he's never changing, and I'm putting all my expectations on you to change this behavior, I am going to set myself up for disappointment. So I need to figure out what I can do. So like when it comes to the pillows, I just put them back. Right now that's not a big deal to me anymore.
No, but for years, Kristen, and I think a lot of it is kind of part of those expectations you mentioned, but what are we focusing on?
Right.
Go back to the dating that I mentioned. I didn't focus on your glurpy drinking then.
Right.
I focused on the 9 wonderful things, just your beautiful smile and your energy and all these, how we got along and our hopes and dreams.
Yes.
But all of a sudden, all these great things that your spouse has, all these qualities that made them special, we're not even looking at them. We're looking at how they chomp their ice or how they crunch up the pillows or leave. And that becomes the only thing we hear.
Yes.
And we're just constantly nagging, nitpicking, pointing out.
Right.
We're focusing on the wrong issues.
Yes.
Yes, they can be annoyances. Yes, we need to work on them. Yes, some is me. Yes, some is you.
Yes.
We want to work. But we've got to, what are we really getting upset about? What are we really getting annoyed about?
Yes.
Because I'm being selfish?
Yes.
Because I want things to be easy for me?
I want it my way. I want you to do things like I do things.
Yes.
And that's not a healthy relationship. I think of another thing, honey, and I'm bringing this up as an example to our listeners.
That's how I know you, right? I mean,
well, and our friends have heard us talk about this, is the popcorn salt. Where this annoys me that... Okay, so you make homemade popcorn on the stove, when we're going to watch a movie, watch a new show, whatever. Actually, you make it a couple times a week.
Is it good popcorn?
It's delicious popcorn. It's like the best popcorn.
Hey, the kitchen might be closed.
Right. Well, so you make this popcorn and you put it in the big bowl, but you take the salt and you salt it from way up high. And you sprinkle it all over and it goes all over the counter. And so when I come back into the kitchen and I see this popcorn salt all over the counter and I'm a neat and tidy, clean person, that just really annoys me. And it used to like really bug me until I was like, you know what? This is such a minor thing. It's like seriously, so minor. And most of our annoyances are minor. Let's put it out there.
I didn't even know that bothered you.
Well, I did. Here's how it goes. I did clearly communicate this to you, and it just never really changed.
Well, do you tell Emerald Agassi, the famous chef, what Emerald?
What's his name? I can't even remember. Yeah,
Emerald, isn't it?
I think so.
Do you tell him how to cook or do things?
Honey, you're comparing
great chef,
apples to oranges.
They have a certain way they do things. We're very
technical.
I'm eclectic. Do things my way.
Okay. Here's the point, the gracious point I'm trying to make, if you would let me, is that I got to thinking, okay, is this worth being annoyed over? Is it just as easy for me to point it out, or is it just as easy for me to pass over and wipe off the counter? Do I enjoy the popcorn? Yes, I absolutely do love it. So that's my role in the popcorn making, is you make it and I clean up, and you know what?
Well, I just want to admit, since you brought it up at a workshop here, I think a year ago, I didn't even really know this. So now, see, what I do, I need to be able to see it covering the bowl, and I use fine popcorn. So I don't use just generic Morton salt. That's
right. That's not good enough. Yeah.
So now that I know this, I lift the bowl up because I need to see it coming out. Okay. So instead of it going down real high, I'm trying to see it. So now I lift and I make much smaller mess, much less cleanup.
Well, I appreciate the effort, honey. Yeah. Maybe could use a few little tweaks, but you know what? It is okay. It doesn't matter. Exactly. It doesn't matter. So I think a lot of this, it comes down to like selfishness. It kind of comes down to some of it is just immature on our part. And you're right. It's the focus part. Mm-hmm. What am I focusing on? Am I focusing on silly little popcorn salt and scrunched up pillows when... You know what? The scrunched up pillows were there because you got up and you went out and you started, bringing up wood for the fire. What's more important? Who cares? It really doesn't matter. Or, the popcorn salt was like, hey, he wanted us to have a special night watching a movie and it's a treat. Let's really take a perspective shift here. Focus on the positive and not be so selfish and lazy.
And part of that annoyance too is I know from my end, I would then treat you poorly when you were annoying me. Mm-hmm. I would be short with you, irritated with you. And that's not how you deserve to be treated, and vice versa. So we start taking these jabs, whether it's verbal, physical, quiet treatment, over little things. And then if we're not able to deal with little things over time, these little annoyances, little things can be big. And then there's a big issue in your marriage. Something with work, something with family, kid, whatever, extra real issue. It's going to be really tough to deal with it if we're still fighting on little bitty...
And we have these little bitty resentments built up.
Yeah, salt on the counter from popcorn and pillows. If we can't get through those, we're going to struggle in big ones. So that's why we're talking about this, because we all have annoyances and we all are annoyed.
Right.
How do we work through those and let these go and give our spouse some grace on some of these little things? And you say it a lot. Are you going to pass over or point out? We talk about that in our book.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because it takes just as much energy. It takes just as much energy for me to go, why didn't you just, why can't you just wipe off the counter? Then for me to just grab the kitchen sink rag and wipe the counter. It's equal energy, basically,
But I know, just like there you said, well, you just wipe. If it's easy where you could easily say, hey, Chad, would you mind cleaning that up when you're done making it in this respectful way? Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. But I'm so tired of you getting popcorn all over the counter.
Right.
The approach and the tone, all these things play into it. So we just want to encourage you guys as you listen, because we know you're probably laughing now, thinking of how your spouse
what your annoying
you,
thing is,
what you do that annoys them. How do you get through it? Again, these are some minor issues. Some you got to let go. Some it's you. Some you need to communicate in a way that's respectful. Kind.
Yes, it's something that helped me, and this is such a silly little tip, but I really think it's it's just a little visual where I took a piece of paper and I just wrote a positive sign on one side and I flipped the paper over and I put a negative sign on the back, and I hung it on the refrigerator on the positive side, and because I told myself, you can only focus on one side of the paper at a time. Which one am I going to choose? Am I going to choose the positives about you, or am I going to choose to flip over the paper and and focus on the negatives. And it just was a little visual reminder
Did
for
it
me
take
to
you
say,
a while to come up with the positives?
okay.
For me, you had to really think hard.
No, there are
okay.
many positives that I
Okay.
think about you.
Good.
You know me better than I know myself. You're quick to forgive. You're a hard worker. I enjoy your humor. I admire your character. Those are the things I need to focus on.
Yes.
Those are the positives. And so rather than me, the socks, the popcorn salt, the annoyances, the pillows, why am I focusing on those when I can be focusing on your positive qualities that breathe life into our relationship? That's what's going to draw my heart to you. Focusing on the little annoyances is just going to push me away and build this resentment, So I think we would just like to encourage our listeners today to just truly focus on the positives and even come up with a list. Like, just take some time, because I know when they start to build up, and that's pretty soon, that's all you can see.
Yeah.
And so maybe take some time today, this week, to just really stop and think, what do you enjoy? What do you appreciate? What do you love about your spouse? What are their positive qualities? And really do the hard work here. Put some effort into this. Make a list of 5 positive qualities. Yeah. Come up with some examples. And share that with your spouse. Express that appreciation. Because appreciation is increased appreciation is going to decrease the annoyances.
Right, because we don't hear enough the good things that we love about our spouse. Because too often we're focused on this annoyance, or that we have a critical spirit.
Right.
And we're looking at everything critical, all these annoying things. And that critical spirit can almost be cancerous in your marriage. Cancerous in how you view. So what a great idea, Kristen. Write these things down. Don't just write them down and post them. Share them with your spouse.
Share them with your spouse.
Let them know, I love you because.
Yes.
You mean so much to me because. And I like when you do blank.
Yes.
That is so much more filling to my spirit.
Yes.
Then, you idiot, you left your socks on the floor.
with the you always and you nevers thrown in there. So
we know we've lived it. I feel like such a heel for how many times I got irritated and frustrated or something that wasn't even you. It was my preference.
Right.
And the annoyance was really me. I was probably just annoying you by being annoying.
Well, here's the good news is I like this verse. 1 Peter 4:8 says, love covers a multitude of sins, but I also think love covers a multitude of annoyances as well. So if we're truly just trying to show love to our spouse, we're going to pass over rather than point out these annoyances. We're going to look and say, is this a me issue? And is this really a big issue? Do we need to just let it go? So, I think that's kind of what our heart was focused on today. And I think we should send our listeners off with the homework to write down those lists of positive qualities, because we have to go in and straighten out some couch pillows and wipe the popcorn salt off the counter.
And hey, I just want to give a shameless plug too. We do come and speak to churches and different groups. If you'd ever like us to come to where you're at,
we'd love to.
Reach out to us, connect with us, because that's what we do. And we love doing that in person and workshops, you name it.
Yes.
So just a plug, because that's what we feel passionate about. We love doing this, but we can't see the audience. So we'd love to come to you and talk and just enjoy talking about marriage.
Because we know great marriages don't just happen. You have to be intentional. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.